Go. So we got some textbooks to cover because it's the beginning of the school year, and every year the teachers tend to send home all the children's textbooks, especially these more valuable ones, and they want them covered by the next day. Sometimes there's even some disciplinary measures taken if they don't get them covered within a day or two. So I'm heading into the second day of school here. The children, I couldn't cover them last night because I didn't have any paper bags. You cannot cover them with regular anything. You need heavy duty bags. And I find the best bags tend to be those from the grocery store. Now this is from our local store, Pick and Save, and this is a gentleman, Chairman Bob is what we affectionately call him, and his face tends to be on every single bag, and the kids actually get a kick out of it when I cover the books with the bags, and I make sure the face shows. So, and there isn't just any old way to start this. You break into the bag in a certain way, and I found that there are some efficient ways of doing this. What I find, first of all, is to identify the bottom of the bag. And like you see, I've started, so I'm going to continue like this, removing the edges where they are folded. Why, that gives me two surfaces at the same time that I'm removing. And now, I do want to retain the edges here, but I want to remove the bottom rectangle, which was intended for the floor of the bag. So I am removing that by just simply lifting up what I would affectionately see as if I was going grocery shopping. But I am in my own mind not thinking about grocery shopping so much as protecting expensive textbooks. So I have now made myself a bag without a bottom. If I do want Chairman Bob ending up on the front of the book, then what I need to do is cut on the right side of Chairman Bob. So I cut the edge of the corner of the bag nice and straight. And now I am able to lay it flat. Now, these textbooks are almost always the same shape and the same size. So what I have found is there is an efficient way to do this, and one can get it done quite quickly if one follows the same regimen on every single book. And I thought it might be helpful to other moms who are starting the school year if they had just a cut and dried pattern of covering textbooks. So I would recommend opening it like this once you've cut into it, and then opening the book exactly halfway, identifying the very front cover, not including any pages. Bring it about 1.5 inches or 2 from the end of the bag. Give it a nice firm fold. Now close your book at that point. Entirely. Close your book entirely. Now, what you want here again is about 2 inches, and cut off the excess.
Looks like that book took a beating without the cover.
Well, that's exactly why we do cover them. They tend to, these books are heavy. Do you want to get a hold of that? So they're heavy. And it looks to me like this is some sort of automobile damage or some sort of like I'm assuming this fell out of somebody's car because it looks like it landed on the spine of the book.
Like a blunt.
It looks like a blunt force trauma to me. So what we're trying to avoid is we're trying to avoid any further damage to these expensive textbooks. And so what we're going to do And then when we get it folded like this on the top cover, then we need to fold it like this. And get it just like that. Now,
You
We're
tend
gonna-
to have quite a bit at the top. Is that going to be cut off? Or do you center that?
what you can
We're
do,
looking at Chairman Bob.
what you can do is center it. There's a lot of different things you can do. Now, if you want to slide the book up, this is probably a real good idea. In fact, that's what I generally do, and I'm appreciating the fact that you noticed that, because I did cover a book just previously, and I did center it, and it was nice because it was uniform on the outside.
Then you really
and
don't have to
inside.
cut any more off.
No, you
actually.
don't need to do any more further cutting. Only a slight trimming by the spine.
Right.
And I will show you what that does. You identify the edges, the top edges of the spine, top and bottom, and you're going to cut at a 45-degree angle right to the corner of the spine without cutting into the book.
Okay.
And you're going to cut it like this. And then what I tend to do
There, right
is
there.
just tear it off. I don't need to waste my time cutting a nice clean edge because frankly, the edges of these books tend to get really tattered.
And you're
So
going
why
to
not
tape.
start it out early and start tattering? So, and another 45 like that, and another one down here. And you tend to get kind of confident as to where the spine. Wow. So, give yourself a 45 here and a 45 here. Open the cover slightly, give it a bend.
Give it a bend.
Give it a bend. Bend it right in. And give yourself another 45. Open the cover slightly.
Like wrapping a present.
Encourage the edges. Flip it over. 45 it. Open it. Close it. Encourage the edges. Flip it. Fold it. Open it. Fold it.
Encourage the edges.
Encourage the edges. Remind it to stay in place and behave itself. Now, we're ready for the taping. As you can see, it's firmly in place. But in order to withstand the children's battering and their backpacks and all that sort of thing, you're gonna need to tape it, and you're gonna need to tape it good. Don't be afraid to use this stuff, and use it liberally.
Is that what Chairman Bob would say?
Thumbs up. What you can do is start cornering the edges just to reinforce them for the beating that it's going to inevitably take. Who are we
9
kidding?
months of beating.
9 months of kid roughness. Do you remember the old what were them pants called that they used to make for
Tough
boys?
Skins.
Tough Skins. Now
Big-
that company
big
knew
Tough
what they
Skins.
were doing. Boys cut through the corners, not the corners, excuse me. Cut through the knees of their pants without even trying. I don't know how they do it. Must be part of being a boy. But them pants, they get ripped in the knees constantly, and there's nothing you can do, so you might as well reinforce
Are
them
you
right from
putting
the start.
tape right onto the book? On the inside there?
No, actually, that is something that you want to try to avoid at all cost. Because what the school will do to you, if they discover
You don't wanna
you,
know?
you don't want to know. So what you want to do is you do want to fold these in and tape them down, but you don't want it touching the book. Now that's going to be a little long, but we'll use it. No. Okay. Last thing I want is saliva on a textbook. Thank you very much.
What? Oh.
It's no problem. These things are durable. Okay. So what we want to try to achieve here is trying to keep the corners down. And that's what we've achieved.
You have a little pucker. That doesn't matter, does it?
I noticed that pucker too, and that's what I was just thinking about. But there again,
Probably won't
what
matter.
we're trying to achieve is a book that's going to stay protected, and I'm not proud of that pucker, but
Maybe the other side will
Do you
be better.
usually win the award for best book cover?
My kids have never once come to me and said, Dad,
But
you
you're
need to
not their
repair my
dad.
cupboard."
I'm ashamed.
Yeah, you need to repair my book cover or something like that. Never once. These things last the whole school year. No questions asked.
No award necessary. That right there is your satisfaction.
Oh, that's my satisfaction. That's my reward right there. Especially, I've never once had my kids had to pay a fine for damaged textbooks or nothing like that.
So if we all follow this pattern,
You too can have that sort of success.
that would be success in anyone's
And you
world.
too can have that sort of satisfaction. Now, the next, and I appreciate you tearing pieces off for me. And you're doing a nice job because some of them have to be shorter and some of them have to be longer. When you tend to give me the shorter pieces, my mind immediately thinks bottom or top
Oh,
because it's a rectangle. So I don't, I'll go with either length, but I'll use them accordingly. And you know what I'm going to need now from you, if you could please,
yeah.
is another top here and a length here, and then we're going to protect the spine in 3 different ways.
Okay.
We're going to protect it lengthwise, as well as protecting it horizontally across the bottom and the top, because what you'll find is kids will very often put these things in their backpacks upside down. So not only do you have to protect the bottom edge when it's going in the backpack, but you got to protect the top edge when it's coming out. And if they tend to put them in upside down, which they sometimes do,
Sure.
because they're in a hurry and such,
All
then
willy-nilly.
you're going to need to protect every edge of this textbook. And then you'll find, and you know what else is interesting and actually very important is what kind of tape you use. Not only is it important what kind of bag you use or what kind of paper, it's also very important what kind of tape you use. So make sure you use the heavy duty packaging tape. And I do recommend the nice little personal size dispenser. It tends to just be a pleasure to use. Well, good luck to you. And I know that if you follow this technique, you too will never ever have to pay a damaged textbook fee.
Thank you.